Feedback, the fuel for personal and professional growth. Chapter 1. The Feedback Advantage. Imagine driving a car without a dashboard. You'd have no idea how fast you're going, how much fuel you have left, or if your engine is overheating. You'd be driving blind, increasing your risk of accidents and hindering your ability to reach your destination efficiently. In many ways, navigating life without feedback is similar. Feedback acts as our personal and professional dashboard, providing crucial information about our performance, behaviors, and impact on others. It's the essential ingredient for growth, development, and achieving our full potential. This chapter introduces the fundamental concept of feedback and explores its profound importance in both personal and professional spheres. We'll delve into the multifaceted benefits of actively seeking and effectively utilizing feedback, demonstrating how it can transform your journey toward success. What is feedback? At its core, feedback is information about our actions and their consequences. It's a response to something we've done or said, offering insights into how our behavior is perceived and its impact on others or on a specific situation. Feedback can come in many forms, from a formal performance review at work to a casual comment from a friend or family member. It can be explicit, like a direct critique, or implicit, like a change in someone's body language. The importance of feedback. Feedback is not merely a nice-to-have, it's a necessity for growth and improvement. It provides us with increased self-awareness. Feedback offers a mirror to ourselves, revealing blind spots and areas we might not be aware of. It helps us understand how others perceive us, which can be significantly different from how we perceive ourselves. This self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth, allowing us to identify strengths to leverage and weaknesses to address. Improved performance. By highlighting areas where we excel and areas where we can improve, feedback provides a roadmap for enhancing our skills and performance. It allows us to course-correct, refine our approach, and achieve better results. In professional settings, feedback can lead to increased productivity, higher quality work, and greater job satisfaction. Stronger relationships. Giving and receiving feedback constructively fosters open communication, builds trust, and strengthens relationships. It demonstrates that we value the opinions of others and are committed to improving ourselves. In personal relationships, feedback can lead to deeper understanding, greater empathy, and more fulfilling connections. Enhanced career prospects. In the professional world, feedback is essential for career advancement. It allows us to understand expectations, demonstrate our commitment to growth, and develop the skills needed to succeed in our chosen field. Seeking and acting on feedback can lead to promotions, new opportunities, and greater career fulfillment. The benefits of seeking feedback. While feedback can sometimes be uncomfortable, actively seeking it offers significant advantages. Proactive improvement. By proactively seeking feedback, we take control of our development. We don't have to wait for issues to arise or for others to offer unsolicited criticism. We can identify areas for improvement and take steps to address them proactively. Targeted development. When we ask for feedback on specific areas, we receive more focused and relevant information. This allows us to prioritize our development efforts and make the most of our time and resources. Building stronger relationships. Asking for feedback demonstrates humility, openness, and a willingness to learn. This can strengthen relationships with colleagues, supervisors, friends, and family members. Embracing the feedback mindset. To reap the full benefits of feedback, it's essential to cultivate a feedback mindset. This involves openness, being receptive to feedback even when it's critical. Curiosity, approaching feedback with a desire to learn and understand. Growth orientation, viewing feedback as an opportunity for growth rather than a personal attack. Action orientation, taking steps to implement changes based on feedback received. By embracing this mindset, you can transform feedback from a potentially daunting experience into a powerful catalyst for personal and professional growth. In the following chapters, we will explore the psychology of feedback, different types of feedback, and practical strategies for seeking, interpreting, and acting on feedback effectively. Chapter 2. The psychology of feedback. Receiving feedback, even when well-intentioned, can trigger a range of emotional responses. Understanding the psychological factors at play is crucial for both giving and receiving feedback effectively. This chapter delves into the psychological aspects of feedback, exploring how people perceive and react to it, and identifying common barriers that can hinder its constructive use. By understanding these dynamics, we can develop strategies to overcome these barriers and create a more positive and productive feedback experience. The emotional roller coaster of feedback. Feedback often touches upon our sense of self-worth and competence. Depending on the nature of the feedback, it can evoke feelings of pride, satisfaction, disappointment, anger, or even fear. These emotional responses are natural, but it's important to recognize and manage them constructively. Positive feedback. Positive feedback, which affirms our strengths and accomplishments, generally leads to positive emotions like pride, confidence, and motivation. It reinforces desired behaviors and encourages us to continue performing well. Negative feedback. Negative feedback, which points out areas for improvement, can trigger more complex emotions. It can lead to feelings of disappointment, frustration, defensiveness, or even shame. However, when delivered and received constructively, negative feedback can be a powerful catalyst for growth. Common barriers to receiving feedback. Several psychological barriers can prevent us from receiving feedback effectively. Defensiveness. Defensiveness is a natural reaction to perceived criticism. It's a way of protecting our ego and self-esteem. When we become defensive, we tend to dismiss or rationalize the feedback, preventing us from learning and growing. Fear of criticism. The fear of being judged or criticized can make us avoid seeking or receiving feedback altogether. This fear can stem from past experiences, low self-esteem, or a fear of failure. Confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency to seek out and interpret information that confirms our existing beliefs and to ignore information that contradicts them. This can lead us to selectively hear only the feedback that aligns with our self-perception, while dismissing or downplaying other feedback. Fixed mindset vs. growth mindset. Individuals with a fixed mindset believe that their abilities and intelligence are static traits. They tend to avoid challenges and view feedback as a threat to their self-worth. In contrast, individuals with a growth mindset believe that their abilities can be developed through effort and learning. They embrace challenges and view feedback as an opportunity for growth. Strategies for overcoming barriers. To maximize the benefits of feedback, it's essential to overcome these psychological barriers. Here are some effective strategies. Cultivate a growth mindset. Embrace the belief that your abilities can be developed through effort and learning. View feedback as a valuable tool for growth rather than a personal attack. Practice self-awareness. Pay attention to your emotional reactions when receiving feedback. Recognize when you're becoming defensive and consciously choose to respond constructively. Separate feedback from self-worth. Remember that feedback is about your actions or behaviors, not about your inherent worth as a person. Separate the message from the messenger and focus on the information being conveyed. Listen actively and seek clarification. Focus on understanding the feedback being given. Ask clarifying questions to ensure you understand the message accurately. Focus on learning and growth. Frame feedback as an opportunity to learn and improve. Focus on what you can gain from the feedback rather than dwelling on any negative emotions. Develop emotional regulation skills. Practice techniques for managing your emotions, such as deep breathing, mindfulness, or self-talk. This can help you respond to feedback more calmly and objectively. Seek feedback from trusted sources. Start by seeking feedback from people you trust and who have your best interests at heart. This can create a safer and more supportive environment for receiving feedback. By understanding the psychology of feedback and implementing these strategies, we can create a more positive and productive feedback experience. This allows us to overcome emotional barriers, embrace feedback as a valuable tool for growth, and unlock our full potential. Chapter 3. Types of feedback. Feedback isn't a monolithic entity. It comes in various forms, each with its own nuances and implications. Understanding these different types is crucial for both giving and receiving feedback effectively. This chapter provides an overview of the key categories of feedback, exploring their characteristics, strengths, and potential limitations. By becoming familiar with these distinctions, you can better navigate the feedback landscape and utilize it to its fullest potential. 1. Formal versus informal feedback. Formal feedback. This type of feedback is typically structured, planned, and documented. It often occurs during scheduled performance reviews, evaluations, or feedback sessions. Formal feedback is usually based on predefined criteria or goals, and may involve specific forms or processes. Examples: annual performance reviews, 360-degree feedback assessments, project postmortems. Strengths: provides a structured and documented record of performance, allows for objective evaluation based on specific criteria. Limitations: can feel impersonal or detached, may not provide timely feedback on day-to-day performance. Informal feedback. This type of feedback is spontaneous, casual, and often delivered in everyday interactions. It can be a quick comment, a gesture, or a subtle change in behavior. Informal feedback is often more immediate and personal than formal feedback. Examples: a colleague complimenting your presentation, a supervisor offering a quick suggestion during a meeting, a friend expressing concern about your stress levels. Strengths: provides timely and relevant feedback on specific situations, fosters open communication and rapport. Limitations: can be subjective and less documented, may be easily overlooked or misinterpreted. 2. Positive versus negative or constructive feedback. Positive feedback. This type of feedback affirms strengths, accomplishments, and desired behaviors. It reinforces what is working well and motivates individuals to continue performing at a high level. Examples: your presentation was engaging and well-researched. I appreciate your proactive approach to solving problems. You're a valuable team player. Strengths: boosts morale and confidence, reinforces positive behaviors, creates a positive and supportive environment. Limitations: if given insincerely or excessively, it can lose its impact. Negative or constructive feedback. This type of feedback points out areas for improvement, identifies weaknesses, or addresses undesirable behaviors. When delivered effectively, it focuses on specific actions or behaviors, not on personal traits or character. It is often referred to as constructive feedback, when the intent is to help the individual improve. Examples: while your presentation was informative, the delivery could be more engaging. I noticed you were late to the last 2 meetings. Your report could benefit from more detailed analysis. Strengths: provides valuable insights for growth and development, helps individuals correct course and improve performance. Limitations: can be difficult to receive, especially if delivered poorly. Requires sensitivity and a focus on specific behaviors, rather than personal attacks. 3. Feedback from different sources. Feedback can originate from various sources, each offering a unique perspective. Supervisors/managers. Feedback from supervisors is typically focused on performance, goals, and professional development within the context of the organization. Colleagues/peers. Feedback from colleagues provides insights into teamwork, collaboration, and day-to-day interactions. Clients/customers. Feedback from clients offers valuable information about customer satisfaction, product quality, and service delivery. Friends/family. Feedback from friends and family provides insights into personal behaviors, relationships, and overall well-being. Self-feedback. This involves reflecting on your own performance, behaviors, and experiences. It can be done through journaling, self-assessment tools, or simply taking time for introspection. Combining different types of feedback. The most effective approach often involves combining different types of feedback. For example, a formal performance review might incorporate both positive and constructive feedback from a supervisor, along with feedback from colleagues and even self-assessment. By considering feedback from multiple sources and in various formats, you can gain a more comprehensive and nuanced understanding of your performance and identify areas for growth. Understanding the different types of feedback allows you to be more intentional about seeking and interpreting information. It also helps you to provide more effective feedback to others. By recognizing the strengths and limitations of each type, you can maximize the value of feedback as a tool for personal and professional development. Chapter 4. Creating a feedback-rich environment. Simply understanding the importance and types of feedback isn't enough. To truly leverage its power, you need to cultivate an environment where feedback is welcomed, valued, and actively sought. This chapter provides practical tips for creating a feedback-rich environment, both in personal and professional settings. It explores how to encourage open communication, build trust, and foster a growth mindset, laying the foundation for continuous improvement. The characteristics of a feedback-rich environment. A feedback-rich environment is characterized by several key elements. Open communication. Open and honest communication is the cornerstone of a feedback-rich environment. People feel comfortable expressing their opinions, sharing concerns, and offering feedback without fear of reprisal. Trust and psychological safety. Trust is essential for creating a safe space for feedback. People need to feel that they can be vulnerable and receive feedback without being judged or criticized unfairly. Psychological safety ensures that individuals feel comfortable taking risks, voicing their opinions, and admitting mistakes. Growth mindset. A growth mindset, as discussed in Chapter 2, is crucial for embracing feedback. In a growth-oriented environment, feedback is viewed as an opportunity for learning and development, rather than a personal attack. Regular feedback practices. Feedback is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. Regular feedback practices, both formal and informal, are essential for continuous improvement. Focus on behavior, not personality. Feedback should focus on specific behaviors and actions, not on personal traits or character. This helps to avoid defensiveness and creates a more constructive dialogue. Action-oriented approach. Feedback is only valuable if it leads to action. A feedback-rich environment encourages individuals to develop action plans, implement changes, and track their progress. Practical tips for creating a feedback-rich environment. Here are some practical strategies for creating a feedback-rich environment in different contexts. In the workplace, establish clear expectations. Clearly define performance expectations, goals, and desired behaviors. This provides a clear framework for giving and receiving feedback. Implement regular feedback mechanisms. Establish regular feedback practices, such as weekly check-ins, monthly performance reviews, or project postmortems. Encourage peer feedback. Foster a culture of peer feedback, where colleagues can provide each other with constructive feedback on their work and collaboration. Led by example. Leaders should model the behavior they want to see by actively seeking and giving feedback themselves. Provide training on giving and receiving feedback. Offer training programs to equip employees with the skills to give and receive feedback effectively. Create a safe space for feedback. Encourage open communication, and ensure that individuals feel comfortable giving and receiving feedback without fear of negative consequences. In personal relationships, establish open communication channels. Create a safe space for open and honest communication with family members, friends, and partners. Practice active listening. Pay attention to what others are saying, both verbally and non-verbally. Show that you value their opinions and perspectives. Express appreciation for feedback. Thank others for providing feedback, even if it's difficult to hear. This reinforces the importance of feedback and encourages them to continue providing it. Focus on specific behaviors. When giving feedback, focus on specific behaviors rather than making general statements about personality or character. Be open to receiving feedback yourself. Model the behavior you want to see by being open to receiving feedback from others. Fostering a growth mindset. Cultivating a growth mindset is essential for creating a feedback-rich environment. Here are some ways to foster a growth mindset. Emphasize learning and development. Frame challenges and setbacks as opportunities for learning and growth. Praise effort and process. Focus on praising effort, strategy, and progress, rather than just outcomes. Encourage risk-taking and experimentation. Create a safe space for individuals to take risks, try new things, and learn from their mistakes. Promote a culture of continuous improvement. Emphasize the importance of continuous learning and development. By implementing these strategies, you can create an environment where feedback is valued, sought, and used effectively for continuous improvement. This will lead to stronger relationships, improved performance, and greater personal and professional success. Chapter 5. Asking for feedback. While creating a feedback-rich environment is crucial, it's equally important to know how to proactively seek feedback. Waiting for feedback to come to you passively can limit your growth and development. This chapter offers practical guidance on how to ask for feedback effectively, including identifying the right people to ask, framing questions appropriately, and creating a safe space for feedback providers. Identifying the right people to ask. The value of feedback depends significantly on the source. Choosing the right people to ask is crucial for receiving relevant and actionable insights. Consider the following factors. Expertise. Seek feedback from individuals who have expertise in the area you're seeking feedback on. Their insights will be more relevant and valuable. Perspective. Consider seeking feedback from people with different perspectives. This can provide a more well-rounded view and uncover blind spots. For example, in a work context, this might include supervisors, colleagues, clients, and even subordinates. In a personal context, this could be close friends, family members, or mentors. Trust and rapport. Choose people you trust and with whom you have a good rapport. This will create a more comfortable and open environment for feedback. Objectivity. While trusted sources are important, also consider seeking feedback from individuals who can offer a more objective perspective. This might include someone who is not directly involved in the situation or project. Framing questions appropriately. How you ask for feedback is just as important as who you ask. Framing your questions appropriately can significantly influence the quality and type of feedback you receive. Here are some guidelines. Be specific. Instead of asking general questions like, "How am I doing?" ask specific questions related to a particular task, project, or behavior. For example, "How effective was my presentation in conveying the key message?" Or, "What could I have done differently in that meeting?" Focus on behavior, not personality. Frame your questions to focus on specific actions or behaviors, rather than personal traits. This will encourage more constructive feedback. For example, instead of asking, "Am I a good leader?" ask, "How effectively did I delegate tasks during the project?" Use open-ended questions. Use open-ended questions that encourage detailed responses, rather than simple yes/no answers. For example, "What are your thoughts on?" Or, "What are some areas where I could improve?" Tailor questions to the audience. Adapt your questions to the specific person you're asking. Consider their expertise, perspective, and relationship with you. Examples of effective feedback questions. For presentations, how clear and engaging was my delivery? Did the presentation achieve its intended objective? What could I do to make future presentations more impactful? For projects, how effectively did I contribute to the team's success? Were my contributions timely and relevant? What could I have done to improve the project outcome? For leadership, how effectively did I communicate the project goals? Did I provide adequate support and guidance to the team? What could I do to improve my leadership skills? For personal interactions, how did my communication style come across in our conversation? Was there anything I said or did that could have been interpreted differently? Creating a safe space for feedback providers. Creating a safe space is crucial for receiving honest and valuable feedback. Here are some ways to do this. Express gratitude. Thank the person for their time and willingness to provide feedback. Listen actively and non-defensively. Show that you are genuinely interested in hearing their feedback. Avoid interrupting or becoming defensive. Acknowledge and validate their perspective. Even if you don't agree with the feedback, acknowledge and validate their perspective. Emphasize your desire to learn and improve. Make it clear that you are seeking feedback to learn and grow. Follow up. After receiving feedback, follow up with the person to let them know how you are using their input. This shows that you value their feedback and encourages them to continue providing it in the future. By following these guidelines, you can effectively seek feedback that will help you grow and develop both personally and professionally. Remember that asking for feedback is a sign of strength, not weakness. It demonstrates a commitment to continuous improvement and a desire to reach your full potential. Chapter 6. Active Listening and Observation. While directly asking for feedback is a valuable strategy, it's not the only way to gather valuable insights. Active listening and keen observation can provide a wealth of implicit feedback, often revealing underlying perceptions and unspoken concerns. This chapter emphasizes the importance of these often overlooked skills in gathering feedback, providing techniques for paying attention to verbal and nonverbal cues, and for seeking clarification and further information. The power of active listening. Active listening goes beyond simply hearing the words someone is saying. It involves fully concentrating on the speaker, understanding their message, and responding thoughtfully. It demonstrates respect, builds rapport, and creates a more conducive environment for open communication. Key components of active listening include paying attention. Give the speaker your undivided attention. Minimize distractions, make eye contact, and focus on their words and body language. Showing that you're listening. Use verbal and nonverbal cues to show that you are engaged. Nod your head, use verbal affirmations like "I understand," and reflect back what you've heard. Providing feedback. Offer verbal summaries or paraphrases to ensure you understand the speaker's message correctly. For example, "So, if I understand correctly, you're saying." Deferring judgment. Avoid interrupting or formulating your response while the speaker is still talking. Listen fully before offering your own opinions or interpretations. Responding appropriately. Respond thoughtfully and respectfully to the speaker's message. Ask clarifying questions if needed, and avoid becoming defensive. Observing nonverbal cues. A significant portion of communication is nonverbal. Paying attention to nonverbal cues can provide valuable insights that may not be explicitly stated. Key nonverbal cues to observe include body language. Observe posture, facial expressions, gestures, and eye contact. These cues can reveal underlying emotions and attitudes. For example, crossed arms might indicate defensiveness, while direct eye contact might indicate engagement. Tone of voice. Pay attention to the speaker's tone of voice, including pitch, volume, and pace. These cues can convey emotions such as excitement, frustration, or boredom. Silence and pauses. Notice any silences or pauses during the conversation. These can indicate hesitation, discomfort, or a need for time to think. Context. Consider the context of the situation when interpreting nonverbal cues. A change in behavior or expression might have different meanings depending on the circumstances. Combining verbal and nonverbal cues. The most effective approach is to combine active listening with careful observation of nonverbal cues. This provides a more complete understanding of the speaker's message and allows you to gather more comprehensive feedback. For example, if someone says everything is fine, but their tone of voice is hesitant and their body language is closed off, you might infer that there is an underlying issue they are not expressing directly. Seeking clarification and further information. When gathering feedback through active listening and observation, it's important to seek clarification and further information to ensure accurate understanding. Here are some strategies. Ask clarifying questions. If you're unsure about something, ask clarifying questions to gain a deeper understanding. For example, could you elaborate on that? Or, can you give me an example? Summarize and paraphrase. Summarize and paraphrase what you've heard to confirm your understanding. For example, so, what you're saying is. Observe and reflect. After a conversation or interaction, take time to reflect on what you observed and heard. Consider any inconsistencies between verbal and nonverbal cues. Follow up. If appropriate, follow up with the person to ask further questions or to confirm your interpretations. By developing strong active listening and observation skills, you can become more attuned to the feedback that is constantly being offered, both explicitly and implicitly. This allows you to gain valuable insights, improve your self-awareness, and enhance your ability to grow and develop. These skills complement the direct approach of asking for feedback, creating a more holistic and effective feedback gathering strategy. Chapter 7. Separating content from delivery. Receiving feedback can be challenging, especially when it's delivered in a way that feels critical, harsh, or even personal. However, to truly benefit from feedback, it's crucial to separate the content of the message from the delivery style. This chapter focuses on this critical skill, providing strategies for managing emotional reactions and focusing on the message rather than the messenger. The impact of delivery. The way feedback is delivered can significantly impact how it's received. Even constructive feedback can be misinterpreted or rejected if it's delivered poorly. Factors that influence delivery include tone of voice. A harsh or sarcastic tone can make feedback sound critical and judgmental, even if the content is valid. Body language. Nonverbal cues like crossed arms, furrowed brows, or lack of eye contact can convey negativity and create a defensive atmosphere. Language used. Using accusatory or blaming language can make the recipient feel attacked, hindering their ability to receive the feedback constructively. Timing and context. Delivering feedback in a public setting or at an inappropriate time can make the recipient feel embarrassed or defensive. Managing emotional reactions. When feedback is delivered poorly, it's natural to experience a range of emotional reactions, such as anger, frustration, sadness, or defensiveness. However, it's important to manage these emotions to avoid dismissing valuable feedback. Here are some strategies. Take a deep breath. Before reacting, take a moment to breathe deeply and calm yourself. This can help you to respond more thoughtfully and less impulsively. Acknowledge your emotions. Recognize and acknowledge your emotional reactions without judgment. It's okay to feel upset or frustrated, but don't let these emotions control your response. Separate the message from the messenger. Remind yourself that the feedback is about your actions or behaviors, not about your worth as a person. Try to separate the content of the message from the person delivering it. Focus on understanding. Shift your focus from your emotional reaction to understanding the message being conveyed. Ask clarifying questions to ensure you understand the feedback accurately. Give yourself time to process. If you're feeling overwhelmed, it's okay to ask for time to process the feedback before responding. This allows you to calm down and approach the situation more objectively. Focusing on the message. Once you've managed your initial emotional reactions, you can focus on the content of the feedback. Here are some key steps. Listen carefully. Pay close attention to the specific points being made. Avoid interrupting or becoming defensive. Identify the core message. Try to identify the main point or key takeaway of the feedback. What is the person trying to communicate? Look for specific examples. Ask for specific examples to illustrate the feedback. This can help you to understand the feedback more clearly and identify concrete areas for improvement. Consider the intent. Try to understand the intent behind the feedback. Is the person trying to help you improve? Are they offering constructive criticism? Avoid making assumptions. Don't assume you know what the person means. Ask clarifying questions to ensure you understand the feedback accurately. Example: imagine your supervisor tells you, in a somewhat abrupt tone, "Your report was late and it wasn't up to par." This delivery might trigger feelings of frustration or anger. However, by separating the content from the delivery, you can focus on the key messages. The report was late, and it needs improvement. You can then ask clarifying questions, such as, what specific aspects of the report weren't up to par? Or, what are the deadlines for future reports? The value of objective feedback. It's important to recognize that sometimes the delivery is a problem that needs addressing. If feedback is consistently delivered in a disrespectful, abusive, or unprofessional manner, it's important to address this directly, perhaps through HR or by speaking to the person directly, if you feel comfortable doing so. However, in many cases, focusing on the content, even with imperfect delivery, can unlock valuable opportunities for growth. By mastering the skill of separating content from delivery, you can unlock the true potential of feedback, even when it's delivered imperfectly. This allows you to focus on the valuable information being conveyed and use it to fuel your personal and professional growth. Chapter 8. Identifying patterns and themes. Receiving feedback from various sources can provide a rich tapestry of insights. However, individual pieces of feedback, taken in isolation, may not always paint the complete picture. This chapter explores how to identify patterns and themes in feedback received from multiple sources, providing techniques for analyzing feedback, identifying key areas for improvement, and prioritizing development goals. The value of multiple perspectives. Seeking feedback from different individuals, supervisors, colleagues, clients, friends, family, offers diverse perspectives based on their unique interactions and experiences with you. This triangulation of feedback can reveal consistent themes and patterns that might not be apparent from a single source. For instance, if multiple colleagues mention your tendency to interrupt during meetings, this reinforces the need to address this behavior. Techniques for identifying patterns and themes. Here are several techniques to analyze feedback and identify recurring themes. Documenting feedback. Keep a record of all feedback received, whether formal or informal. This can be done in a notebook, spreadsheet, or dedicated feedback tracking tool. Include the source of the feedback, the date it was received, and a summary of the key points. Categorizing feedback. Create categories or themes based on common areas of feedback. These categories might include communication skills, teamwork, technical skills, leadership qualities, or specific project-related skills. As you document feedback, assign it to the appropriate category. Looking for repetition. Once you've categorized the feedback, look for repetition. Are certain themes or points being raised by multiple sources? This repetition highlights areas where improvement is most needed. Identifying contrasting feedback. Sometimes, you might receive conflicting feedback from different sources. For example, one person might praise your assertiveness, while another might criticize it as being too aggressive. Analyzing these contrasting viewpoints can provide valuable insights into how your behavior is perceived in different contexts. Visualizing feedback. Creating visual representations of your feedback can help you to identify patterns more easily. This could involve creating charts, graphs, or mind maps that illustrate the frequency and distribution of different feedback themes. Example: imagine you receive the following feedback. Supervisor: you need to be more proactive in taking on new challenges. Colleague 1: you're great at completing tasks assigned to you, but you rarely volunteer for new projects. Colleague 2: I appreciate your reliability, but it would be great to see you take more initiative. By categorizing this feedback under the theme of initiative/proactiveness, you can clearly see a pattern. Multiple sources are suggesting that you need to be more proactive in seeking out new opportunities. Prioritizing development goals. Once you've identified patterns and themes in your feedback, you can prioritize your development goals. Focus on the areas where improvement will have the greatest impact. Consider the following factors. Frequency. Which themes are mentioned most frequently? These are likely the most important areas to address. Impact. Which areas of improvement will have the greatest positive impact on your performance, relationships, or career? Feasibility. Which areas are most feasible to address given your current resources and constraints? By prioritizing your development goals, you can create a focused and effective plan for improvement. Using feedback to create a development plan. Identifying patterns and themes is a crucial step in creating a personal development plan based on feedback. By understanding the key areas for improvement, you can set specific goals, identify actionable steps, and track your progress over time. This process will be discussed in more detail in Chapter 10. By mastering the skill of identifying patterns and themes in feedback, you can gain a deeper understanding of your strengths and weaknesses, prioritize your development efforts, and accelerate your personal and professional growth. This approach transforms disparate pieces of feedback into a cohesive roadmap for continuous improvement. Chapter 9. Seeking clarification and understanding. After receiving and analyzing feedback, it's crucial to ensure you've understood it accurately. Misinterpretations can lead to wasted effort or even counterproductive changes. This chapter emphasizes the importance of seeking clarification and understanding when interpreting feedback, providing tips for asking clarifying questions, seeking specific examples, and ensuring that the feedback is understood accurately. Why clarification is essential. Feedback, even when well-intentioned, can be vague, ambiguous, or open to interpretation. Seeking clarification helps to avoid misunderstandings. Clarifying questions prevent misinterpretations and ensure you're addressing the intended message. Gain specificity. General feedback like, "You need to be more assertive," is less helpful than specific examples. Clarification helps to uncover concrete behaviors or situations that need attention. Deepen understanding. Asking questions demonstrates a genuine interest in understanding the feedback provider's perspective. This strengthens communication and builds trust. Ensure actionability. Clear and specific feedback is more actionable. Clarification helps you translate feedback into concrete steps for improvement. Tips for asking clarifying questions. Here are some effective strategies for seeking clarification. Ask open-ended questions. Use what, how, and why questions to encourage detailed responses. For example, instead of, "Did I do a good job?" ask, "What specifically did you find effective about my approach?" Or, "How could I have improved my performance in that situation?" Request specific examples. If the feedback is vague, ask for concrete examples to illustrate the point. For example, instead of, "You need to communicate better," ask, "Can you give me a specific example of a time when my communication could have been better?" Paraphrase and summarize. Restate the feedback in your own words to confirm your understanding. For example, "So, if I understand correctly, you're suggesting that." Focus on understanding, not defending. Approach the conversation with a genuine desire to understand, not to defend your actions. Avoid interrupting or becoming defensive. Use a respectful tone. Maintain a respectful and open tone throughout the conversation. This encourages the feedback provider to be honest and forthcoming. Seek clarification promptly. Don't wait too long to seek clarification. The sooner you ask questions, the fresher the details will be in the feedback provider's mind. Example scenarios and questions. Feedback. Your presentation was a bit disorganized. Clarifying questions. Could you tell me which parts felt disorganized? Were there specific areas where the flow could have been improved? Do you have any suggestions for structuring future presentations more effectively? Feedback: you're not a very good team player. Clarifying questions: can you give me specific examples of situations where I didn't contribute effectively to the team? What behaviors would demonstrate better teamwork in your opinion? How can I better support my colleagues in future projects? Feedback: you need to be more proactive. Clarifying questions: what does proactive mean to you in this context? Can you give me an example of a situation where I could have been more proactive? What specific actions could I take to demonstrate more proactivity? When to seek clarification. It's generally a good idea to seek clarification whenever you don't fully understand the feedback. Find the feedback vague or ambiguous. Feel confused or uncertain about how to act on the feedback. Receive conflicting feedback from different sources. By mastering the art of seeking clarification, you can ensure that you're interpreting feedback accurately and using it effectively for your growth. This crucial step bridges the gap between receiving feedback and taking meaningful action. It transforms potentially vague criticism into actionable insights, paving the way for targeted improvement and development. Chapter 10. Developing an action plan. Receiving, interpreting, and clarifying feedback are essential steps, but the true value of feedback lies in taking action. This chapter provides a step-by-step guide to developing an action plan based on the feedback you've received. It includes strategies for setting SMART goals, identifying specific actions, and establishing timelines to ensure you make tangible progress. From feedback to action. Simply understanding the feedback isn't enough. You must translate it into concrete steps for improvement. An action plan provides a structured approach to this process, helping you to focus your efforts. An action plan helps you prioritize your development efforts and avoid feeling overwhelmed by multiple pieces of feedback. Track your progress. A well-defined plan allows you to monitor your progress and measure your success. Stay motivated. Having a clear plan can help you stay motivated and committed to making positive changes. Step-by-step guide to developing an action plan. Review and prioritize feedback. Review all the feedback you've received, paying particular attention to the patterns and themes you identified in Chapter 8. Prioritize the areas for improvement that will have the greatest impact on your goals. Set SMART goals. For each prioritized area, set SMART goals. Specific. Clearly define what you want to achieve. Avoid vague goals like improve my communication skills. Instead, set specific goals like reduce the number of times I interrupt others during meetings. Measurable. Define how you will measure your progress. This could involve tracking specific metrics, seeking feedback from others, or using self-assessment tools. Achievable. Set realistic goals that you can realistically achieve within a given time frame. Avoid setting goals that are too ambitious or too easy. Relevant. Ensure that your goals are relevant to your overall objectives and values. Time-bound. Set a specific time frame for achieving your goals. This creates a sense of urgency and helps you stay on track. Identify specific actions. Once you've set your SMART goals, identify the specific actions you will take to achieve them. Break down each goal into smaller, manageable steps. Example: if your goal is to reduce the number of times I interrupt others during meetings, your specific actions might include actively listening to others without formulating your response while they are speaking, practicing taking a breath before speaking, asking a trusted colleague to provide feedback on your meeting behavior. Establish timelines. Set realistic timelines for completing each action. This will help you stay organized and track your progress. Identify resources and support. Consider what resources and support you might need to achieve your goals. This could include training courses, mentoring, coaching, or feedback from others. Document your plan. Write down your action plan. This will make it more concrete and help you stay accountable. Reviewing and adjusting your plan. It's important to regularly review your action plan and make adjustments as needed. Things change, and your initial plan may need to be modified based on your progress, new feedback, or changing circumstances. Regularly reviewing your plan ensures it remains relevant and effective. By following these steps, you can create a robust action plan that translates feedback into meaningful change. This structured approach helps you to stay focused, track your progress, and achieve your development goals, ultimately fueling your personal and professional growth. Chapter 11. Implementing changes and tracking progress. Developing an action plan is a crucial step, but its true value is realized only through consistent implementation and diligent tracking of progress. This chapter focuses on putting your plan into action, providing tips for staying motivated, overcoming challenges, and celebrating your successes along the way. Putting your plan into action. Implementing changes based on feedback requires commitment and consistent effort. Here are some strategies to help you put your plan into action. Start small. Don't try to change everything at once. Focus on one or two key areas initially. This makes the process less overwhelming and increases your chances of success. Break down large tasks. If a task seems daunting, break it down into smaller, more manageable steps. This makes it easier to get started and maintain momentum. Create a routine. Integrate your action plan into your daily or weekly routine. This helps to make the changes more sustainable. Find an accountability partner. Share your action plan with a trusted friend, colleague, or mentor. They can provide support, encouragement, and accountability. Visualize success. Regularly visualize yourself achieving your goals. This can help to boost your motivation and confidence. Tracking your progress. Tracking your progress is essential for staying motivated and making adjustments to your plan as needed. Here are some methods for tracking progress. Use a journal or log. Keep a journal or log to document your progress, challenges, and successes. This provides a valuable record of your journey. Use a tracking tool. Use a spreadsheet, app, or other tracking tool to monitor your progress towards specific goals. This can help you to visualize your progress and identify any areas where you might be falling behind. Regular self-assessment. Regularly assess your progress using the measurement criteria you defined in your action plan. This could involve self-reflection, seeking feedback from others, or reviewing specific metrics. Schedule regular check-ins. Schedule regular check-ins with your accountability partner or mentor to discuss your progress and address any challenges. Staying motivated. Maintaining motivation throughout the process is essential for long-term success. Here are some tips for staying motivated. Focus on the benefits. Remind yourself of the positive outcomes that will result from achieving your goals. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge and celebrate your progress, no matter how small. This reinforces positive behaviors and keeps you motivated. Reward yourself. Reward yourself for achieving milestones or completing specific tasks. This can provide an extra boost of motivation. Remember your why. Keep your overall goals and motivations in mind. This will help you to stay focused and committed even when facing challenges. Overcoming challenges. Implementing change is rarely easy. You'll likely encounter challenges and setbacks along the way. Here are some strategies for overcoming these obstacles. Identify the cause. When you encounter a setback, take time to identify the underlying cause. This will help you to address the issue effectively. Adjust your plan. Don't be afraid to adjust your action plan if needed. Things change, and your initial plan may need to be modified. Seek support. Reach out to your accountability partner, mentor, or other support network for help and encouragement. Learn from setbacks. View setbacks as learning opportunities. Analyze what went wrong and how you can avoid similar issues in the future. Celebrating successes. It's important to acknowledge and celebrate your successes, both big and small. Celebrating your achievements reinforces positive behaviors and provides a sense of accomplishment. Here are some ways to celebrate your successes. Acknowledge your progress. Take time to reflect on how far you've come. Share your successes with others. Share your accomplishments with your support network. Reward yourself. Treat yourself to something you enjoy as a reward for your hard work. By implementing these strategies, you can effectively implement changes, track your progress, stay motivated, overcome challenges, and celebrate your successes. This process transforms feedback into tangible results, driving you toward your personal and professional development goals. Chapter 12. Continuous Improvement and Feedback Loops. Personal and professional growth is not a destination, but a continuous journey. This chapter emphasizes the importance of ongoing improvement and establishing feedback loops. It explores how to regularly seek feedback, monitor progress, adjust actions as needed, and integrate feedback into your long-term development strategy. The importance of continuous improvement. The world is constantly changing, and what works today may not work tomorrow. Continuous improvement is essential for staying relevant, adaptable, and successful. It involves embracing a growth mindset. As discussed earlier, a growth mindset is crucial for continuous improvement. It involves believing that your abilities can be developed through effort and learning. Seeking ongoing feedback. Regularly seeking feedback, even when you're performing well, helps you to identify areas for further growth and stay ahead of the curve. Reflecting on your experiences. Taking time to reflect on your experiences, both successes and failures, allows you to learn valuable lessons and identify areas for improvement. Adapting to change. Being open to change and willing to adjust your approach based on new information and feedback is essential for continuous improvement. Establishing feedback loops. A feedback loop is a process of regularly seeking feedback, implementing changes, and then seeking further feedback to assess the impact of those changes. This cyclical process allows for continuous learning and refinement. Here are the key components of a feedback loop. Seek feedback. Regularly seek feedback from various sources using the techniques discussed in previous chapters. Analyze and interpret. Analyze the feedback you receive, identifying patterns, themes, and areas for improvement. Develop an action plan. Create a specific action plan with SMART goals, actionable steps, and timelines. Implement changes. Put your action plan into action and consistently implement the changes you've identified. Monitor progress. Track your progress using various methods, such as journaling, tracking tools, and self-assessments. Seek follow-up feedback. After implementing changes, seek follow-up feedback to assess their impact. Ask the same people who provided initial feedback or seek feedback from new sources to get a different perspective. Adjust and refine. Based on the follow-up feedback, adjust your action plan and refine your approach. This completes the loop and sets the stage for further improvement. Example of a feedback loop. Let's say you received feedback that your presentations are too technical and difficult for non-technical audiences to understand. Seek feedback. You asked colleagues from different departments for feedback on a recent presentation. Analyze and interpret. The feedback consistently pointed to the use of excessive jargon and complex explanations. Develop an action plan. You set a goal to simplify your presentations for non-technical audiences. Your actions include using more plain language and avoiding jargon, focusing on the key takeaways and avoiding excessive detail, practicing explaining complex concepts in simple terms. Implement changes. You implemented these changes in your next presentation. Monitor progress. You paid close attention to audience engagement during the presentation and noted any signs of confusion. Seek follow-up feedback. You asked members of the audience for feedback on the clarity and effectiveness of your presentation. Adjust and refine. Based on the follow-up feedback, you further refined your presentation style, focusing on using more analogies and real-world examples. Integrating feedback into long-term development. Feedback should be an integral part of your long-term development strategy. Here are some ways to integrate it. Regularly schedule feedback sessions. Schedule regular feedback sessions with your supervisor, mentor, or other trusted sources. Use feedback in performance reviews. Use feedback to inform your performance reviews and set development goals. Incorporate feedback into your personal development plan. Integrate feedback into your personal development plan, using it to identify areas for growth and set specific goals. Create a culture of feedback. Encourage others to provide you with feedback and offer feedback to them in return. By embracing continuous improvement and establishing feedback loops, you can ensure that you're constantly learning, growing, and reaching your full potential. Feedback becomes not just a one-time event, but a powerful engine for ongoing development. Chapter 13. Embracing Feedback as a Catalyst for Growth. This book has explored the multifaceted world of feedback, from understanding its psychological underpinnings to implementing actionable strategies for leveraging it effectively. This concluding chapter reinforces the central message. Feedback is not something to be feared or avoided, but rather a powerful catalyst for personal and professional growth. It encourages readers to embrace feedback as a continuous process and to use it to achieve their full potential. The power of a feedback-oriented mindset. Throughout this book, we've emphasized the importance of a growth mindset and its connection to feedback. Embracing a feedback-oriented mindset means viewing feedback as an opportunity. Instead of seeing feedback as criticism or judgment, view it as a valuable opportunity to learn, grow, and improve. Being open and receptive. Cultivate an open and receptive attitude towards feedback, even when it's difficult to hear. Actively seeking feedback. Proactively seek feedback from various sources to gain a more comprehensive understanding of your strengths and weaknesses. Taking ownership. Take ownership of your development and use feedback to drive positive change. Continuously learning and adapting. Embrace continuous learning and be willing to adapt your approach based on feedback and new information. Feedback as a continuous process. Feedback is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. Integrating feedback loops into your personal and professional life is essential for continuous improvement. This involves regularly seeking feedback. Make seeking feedback a regular habit, whether through formal reviews, informal conversations, or self-reflection. Implementing changes and tracking progress. Consistently implement changes based on feedback and track your progress to ensure you're moving in the right direction. Refining your approach. Be willing to adjust your approach based on new feedback and experiences. This iterative process of seeking, implementing, and refining is key to ongoing growth. The benefits of embracing feedback. By embracing feedback as a catalyst for growth, you can unlock a wide range of benefits. Enhanced self-awareness. Feedback provides valuable insights into your strengths, weaknesses, and blind spots, leading to greater self-awareness. Improved performance. By acting on feedback, you can enhance your skills, improve your performance, and achieve better results. Stronger relationships. Giving and receiving feedback constructively fosters open communication, builds trust, and strengthens relationships. Increased confidence. Successfully implementing changes based on feedback boosts your confidence and self-esteem. Accelerated personal and professional growth. Embracing feedback accelerates your personal and professional development, helping you to reach your full potential. A final word. Feedback is a gift. It's a valuable tool that can help you to learn, grow, and achieve your goals. While receiving feedback can sometimes be challenging, the benefits far outweigh the discomfort. By embracing a feedback-oriented mindset and integrating feedback loops into your life, you can unlock the power of feedback and transform it into the fuel for your personal and professional growth. Embrace the process, be open to learning, and watch yourself flourish.